What is going on, North Star Nation, and welcome to the North Star Network presented by CNS Athletics. My name is Giovanni, and thank you for joining me today as I welcome the brand new CNS women's basketball head coach, Robert Siechen. Thank you for joining me, Coach, and how you doing?
Doing pretty well tonight. How about you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Again, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's an extremely exciting time in CNS basketball, the program, both women's and men's. The boys, obviously, a brand new head coach and a new undertaking, and the same thing going on the girls' side. Both programs looking to continue the success, especially on the women's side. A lot of prior success, great season last year, and of course, you look to continue that. Now, Coach, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and really walk me through your days as a player, as a coach, and how you got to where you are.
Coaching wise, well, first I'm a chemistry teacher at CNS. This is my 16th year, I think I'm starting. Basketball coaching wise, most recently I was the girls varsity coach at Jamesville DeWitt. Was that for the last 15 years. Prior to that, I coached JV boys there and at Central Square, leading up to the JD stint.
Gotcha. Now, Coach, have you had any talk at all with Coach Kyle Martin of the boys squad? I'm not sure if the two programs really correlate at all, but obviously an exciting time for the two of you.
Yeah, it is great. I did talk to Kyle kind of when we both kind of got the positions. He coming from college had a couple questions about high school things. And I'm sure as we get into, rotation of seasons and practices and stuff that we'll get together more often.
Coach, it's very clear to me that you're a winner. Looking at your resume, I mean, phenomenal accolades at Jamesville DeWitt. It doesn't get any better than this. 3 straight state championships, 8 straight Section 3 titles. This is incredible. I was shocked when I saw all of this. What goes into that success, and how do you build a winning program?
Having great players. That's the easiest way to get it done. I was fortunate, JD, to have, when I first started there, we didn't win sectional championships, but we were always very good. I say that those kids, those first few years laid the foundation for what we needed to be successful for that, that run of 8 sectional championships. Everybody always points back to that. But it's just building the culture and the kids having confidence in themselves and playing in big games. Experience is huge. We kind of progressed every year. We got a little bit farther, and the kids drew upon the experience from previous years and got a little bit of taste, and they knew what it took to get to that next level, and they wanted to put in the time and effort. And I was fortunate to have really good players as well.
Coach, now all this success, you're very integrated, it must be, into the basketball community over there with these players, these athletes, these families. How hard is it to leave something like that?
Very. It was that was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make. But it was a decision that I made for me personally, for lots of reasons. But a lot of it just comes down to logistics, being able to walk down to practice, being able to see, having the opportunity to see my players in the hallways. We're remote right now, so I don't see them as frequently, but if we ever get back to normal, it'll be a great opportunity to kind of keep tabs on them all the time. It was definitely one of those decisions that, it took a long time for me to decide. Never, if you would ask me last year that I'd be coaching at CNS this year, would have thought no chance. It was just one of those things, right moment, right time type things.
Coach, looking at the big picture here, I don't know what goes down with the athletic directors, everything like that. What's your draw? What really brought you to CNS? Was there a specific conversation with somebody, Mr. Bednarski perchance, or was it just everything you explained right there?
It was pretty much what I explained. I mean, obviously the opportunity, Coach Smith resigning, that opened a door that I didn't think was going to open ever. I mean, we've coached together against each other at JV boys. We both kind of moved to girls varsity at the same time. So I didn't anticipate him leaving anytime soon. So the thought of coaching at CNS really never entered my mind. When he did resign, Mr. Bednarski did give me a phone call. I was totally shocked, and then the wheels started turning in my head as to would I really want to do that. At first I was like, no way. Then thinking about it, it kind of talking to my family and stuff, and it just worked out. It's going to be a great decision for me down the road.
Now, Coach, have you had the opportunity to talk with Eric Smith at all? You mentioned that you had coached against each other previously. Has he ever given you any advice, not like you need it with your accolades, but really shown you the ropes of his team, the players that he has brought up through the program?
Not in terms of players per se. Coach Smith and I, we would always bounce things back and forth when we were coaching in opposite schools. There was a couple seasons we actually practice/scrimmage together frequently throughout the season. So in terms of players, no, but logistics, how, simple things, where things are at CNS, how things run at CNS, he's very willing to share his knowledge and expertise on that. So I think I can still call upon him at any point in time with any questions I have.
Awesome. Now, Coach, the CNS girls, obviously a great program. You're talking history. Obviously, everyone will point back to Brianna Stewart. But even just last season, they reached some great success. And in the previous years, they've had some really quality basketball squads. And really what kind of brought me to this was the comparison. I don't know if you're a college football guy like me, but Urban Meyer really stood out to me. He wins a national championship at Florida. I think it was 2 of them, a matter of fact. And then he goes to Ohio State, right? And he obviously wins a national championship there. But you're going from one huge storied program where you won championships to another very storied traditional program. So that was just kind of toned down a little bit. That's really what it reminded me of. And how do you approach something like that? How do you approach a program that already has a feel for winning? These girls know how to win, but continue to implement your own culture and make this program your own.
Yeah, and that's going to be the challenge for me and the players. They have their style that they're used to with Coach Smith, very successful. I have my style. I want to say that we coach similarly but differently. I mean, there's things that we do that are very similar, and there's things that are quite different. For us to be successful, the girls and I both kind of have to merge those two philosophies, shall we say. There's a lot of experience coming back on the team this year that, these kids have played for Coach Smith for 2 and 3 years. So it's going to be, they might say, well, Coach Smith did it this way. Well, I do it this way. And it doesn't mean that his is right and I'm wrong, or I'm right or I'm wrong and he's right. It's just a different way of doing it. So it'll be fun. It's good to have, obviously CNS has got a very storied program. And I just look to keep it going.
Coach, what kind of play style can we expect from you? Not, I don't want you to give away too much important information here and give any advantage to any opposition, but can we expect anything, like a patented zone, an up-tempo offense? Just what can we see come the winter?
We'll always play defense, primarily man-to-man. That winning, the old saying goes, championships are won on the defensive end of the floor. We'll always do that. Offensively, we try to run. It depends on personnel. I think our personnel right now, we can run. We try to be the fastest team up the floor as a group of 5. We might not be the fastest kid individually, but we want to beat your opponent down the floor. Get early transition buckets is huge. They're backbreakers for other teams. Even when they score, that's the one, they're celebrating a bucket and we're down there trying to get a layup within 3 or 4 seconds.
Absolutely, Coach. Now, this team is full of talent, and of course, it's headed by senior Toledo commit, future Division I basketball player Jessica Cook, who is one of the school's all-time leading scorers. So, other than Jessica, of course, who are going to be the keys to success for the North Stars in the future?
I mean, it's going to be the kids that played all last year. So you got Julia Rowe, you've got Alita, you've got G. You've got Alexa Kulikowski. Unfortunately, Abby went down hurt this summer. So she had surgery. So she's hoping that the season gets postponed back a little bit so she'll be able to play. All the kids that, Nicolette is there too. I'm trying to, you're testing my knowledge of their names off the top of my head here.
I'm sorry, Coach.
No, it's all right. Put me in the hot seat right away. So I'd miss somebody, I'll be upset. But all those kids contributed last year, so we expect those kids to contribute again this year. As far as the younger kids, the JV kids, I can tell you, I really don't know them. I haven't had an opportunity to really meet them, and with the situation that we're in, I don't get a chance to see them right now. We're hoping that those doors open up pretty soon here, that we can try to take a look at the younger kids.
No, Coach, you actually fed me right into my next question for you. You mentioned that you haven't had the opportunity to meet with the JV kids. Obviously, something that's completely understandable given the world we're living in right now. But how important is a feeder program to have success all the way down at the modified level and send it right through?
Oh, it's critical. Like I said, we were successful at JD because we had good players. Good players come from kids who play basketball. It's rare that a kid's going to walk into the gym as a ninth, 10th grader and be able to contribute on a basketball floor at any level. And at the level that CNS is at, that's going to be really hard to do. So we identifying those kids young, and then developing them, in basketball season at CNS and out of basketball season, whether they, summer workouts or AAU or whatever. That's the key to keeping the program going. And Eric's done a great job with that. That's what we were able to do at JD, and we hope to continue the trend here as well.
Coach, how have yourself and the girls really been able to prepare for a given 2020 and 2021 campaign through really the craziest offseason in basketball history?
It is definitely the craziest offseason. I can't ever remember a summer where I didn't do anything in basketball. It's got to be at least 25 years. But we couldn't do anything. I met with the kids when I first took the job just to kind of introduce myself and kind of meet them as their personalities. Gave them some things to do. And then last week, we just had a Zoom, or it might have been this week, beginning of this week, we had a Zoom meeting. It's the second time we really met kind of as a group together. That's the opportunities that I'm missing right now is, because of the situation we're in, we don't get an opportunity I don't get an opportunity to coach these kids. They don't get an opportunity to see how I coach. So it just kind of, it's unknowns, and hopefully that unknown gets cleared up sooner rather than later.
Coach, speaking about that unknown, what are your opinions on if there's going to be a basketball season? What do you think needs to be done? And obviously, big news just came out yesterday. Football and volleyball, all those high contact sports, those are pushed off until a March start date. Now, you got to think they're outdoors. That's probably mainly the reason. You can only push it off so much before the snow comes. But with things like that happening, and on the other side, field hockey, soccer, them being able to play, what do you think the future is like for your basketball program?
If I were to be able to answer that, I'd be crazy. There's no way I know what's going to happen. We don't even know if the fall sports are going to happen. I think they find out tomorrow how the vote goes or whatever that is. I'll probably put it at best odds at 50-50 if we start at the end of November. Not much better to start in January either, to be honest with you. Just kind of no one knows what's going to happen, and who, the powers to be that make those decisions. They don't seem to be consistent in what they say is going to happen and then what happens.
Absolutely, Coach. Now, what is the goal this season for you and the North Stars given a basketball season?
The goal is the same all the time: get better every day. Kids, outside people want to put the focus on wins and losses. I want to get better every day. I want myself to get better every day. I want the players to get better every day. I want us to compete every day. And if we do that, then I'll take our chances that the results will work out okay. But it's that competitiveness, that competing. You wanted to compete for everything. And that's, I think Eric has instilled that into this program, and I'll just want to push it even farther.
Coach, it sounds like you're the perfect man for the job, of course. The best coaches out there seem to take it day by day and not necessarily look at the big picture. Last question here for you before we wrap things up. What does this new chapter as the head coach of the CNS girls basketball squad, what does this mean for you personally and for your family?
It's a new challenge. It's a new challenge. I walked into JD and they really weren't an established program. This is going to be completely different, taking over a program that's established and has high expectations. There's a good side of that, that's there. There could be also the bad side of it, that if we don't meet those expectations, then, people, point fingers at who or what, and probably me, most likely, which is fine. I'm okay with that. In terms of my family, they were all in on this. So, they were definitely part of the decision. And me coming here. So it'll be a good year for that. It'll be fun.
Coach, great news to hear. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, today is the first day of school, so I'm wishing you the best of luck in the classroom teaching that chemistry. It was a great class. I loved taking it last year, even though I wasn't in your room. But Coach, good luck with the whole school season, and then of course, hopefully we'll see some basketball come November, January. Who knows?
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to having you to cover us. Hey, you're going to do great things going down the road. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. For Coach Robert Siechen, brand new coach of the CNS girls basketball team, my name's Giovanni, and thank you for watching the North Star Network presented by CNS Athletics.